Life.
Hey loves, I'm stopping by really quickly just to let you guys know about my new merchandise that I recently put out. You guys asked and I delivered. You can now pick up your Pick Me Nation t-shirts, you guys. I also have Winter is Here merchandise. And I also have Who You Want, Gotta Want You t-shirts as well. So make sure you go and support. It is the holiday times. Definitely go pick up a shirt or a mug for your mother, your fathers, your sisters, brothers, your husband, wife. Make sure you go and support. I have those shirts available now. What up, YouTube? It's your girl DeeDee. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm back with another reaction video for you guys. Listen, before we hop into the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It is free to subscribe, share, and like the video, and turn on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new content, all right? So, popular social media couple Kristy and Desmond Scott reportedly getting divorced after alleged infidelity after 11 years of marriage. So, I definitely have seen this couple all over social media. I thought they were a cute couple. I think they have two sons together. Beautiful family. But now they're calling it quits because of infidelity. According to TMZ, TMZ is stating that another social media love story has officially crashed and burned. The Scotts are done, with Kristy filing for divorce from estranged husband Desmond Scott. It goes on to say TMZ obtained the court docs out of Harris County, Texas, in which Kristy cited alleged infidelity as the reason she sought the split, saying it completely wiped out any reasonable chance of reconciliation. The paperwork says the couple will soon stop living together as husband and wife. They met at 14 and then tied the knot years later in 2014 and share two sons. The split will likely blindside fans, as it did, since the two built their brand on joint content, packed with family chaos, design and renovation projects, and prank videos, though she last posted him on TikTok back in early December. So they also co-own Meant to Be Films, a production company centered on wedding videography and storytelling. And as of now, it's unclear what happens to the business post breakup. We've reached out to the reps for Kristy and Desmond. So far, no word back. Now, I think it's unfortunate that they're breaking up. And, you know, this is not my first time witnessing something like this on social media. There are unfortunately a lot of marriages that fall apart when it comes to social media. And I've seen it display several times. You see a lot of couples who do family content, these family blogs. A lot of these couples have since divorced. And it's unfortunate, but some would say that, hey, this, you know, being on social media is not for, you know, for marriages or for couples, because a lot of couples tend to become divided. A lot of couples tend to, you know, as they get more fame and as they get more money, as they become more popular, that somehow the fame and the money divides the couple. There are a lot of people on social media who speculate about the relationships, and of course you have a lot of women who tend to blame it on the man. In this particular case, they're saying that he cheated. He did post something basically apologizing and saying that he was sorry. He did something that he shouldn't have done. So it's almost like he, you know, admitted to it. And you know, even though that did happen, there could have been other things that kind of led or culminated to the demise of the marriage. You know, it's not always just one thing when you're in a marriage, in my opinion. And I just think it's unfortunate because the kids are the ones who usually suffer in these type of situations, you know. And so, you know, there's a combination of things that could have occurred that could lead to them divorcing. Some would say, hey, she kind of went Hollywood, you know, and as you know, just from experience, I know with women, when they start getting in the, you know, getting bigger in the spotlight and start making more money, there is a change. And I'm not saying that's completely what it is, but there, once again, it's not always one factor that kind of leads to a divorce. You know, it's more than one thing. And so it could be some things on his part, is, you know, the infidelity, and there could also be some things on her part as well. So we will never fully know what, you know, takes place in somebody else's marriage and livelihood behind the scenes. So we can only speculate, but I wouldn't point it all to him to say just the infidelity was just the main reason or the main culprit as to why they broke up, because I know when you've been married for a long time, it's not always one-sided and it's not always one thing. You both play a part in that. So yeah, I just think it's unfortunate, but listen, this is why I say, look, when you see these people on social media, you should not idolize these people. You should not put these people up on a pedestal, because they are human beings. And I think oftentimes when you become a fan of somebody, you put them on a pedestal and you forget that they're humans, that they have everyday lives just like you do, that they go through issues and, arguments and disagreements as well. It's not always sunshine and roses. And I think people got to stop thinking that way. You got to stop thinking that because they're on TV or you're fans of theirs, that they're not human, that they don't go through things, that they don't, have life experiences. And I think when you stop putting these people on a pedestal in that way, when you hear these types of things, it wouldn't shock you as much. People are always going to present a perfect life on social media because you're selling something. You're selling a product. You're selling yourselves as a product, actually. So you're putting your work in front of what really is going on. Most people are not going to show you the bad side of what's going on in their lives. They're not going to, because people don't want to really see. People want to see stuff that looks good, or when you're promoting things, they don't want to see all of that, and some people just don't want to show it. So you don't get to see every part of somebody's life. You only see the good times, the fun stuff. You don't get to see the behind the scenes. And I think, you should never idolize somebody else's relationship or think that their relationship is goals, because you really don't know the full ins and outs of their relationship. And I say it all the time. Listen, you can't look at these people only from a surface level and think that you know them and think that you know everything about them when you really don't. And I say this all the time. Marriage is work. Relationships are work. These things just don't thrive. You have to make them thrive. You have to put in the work constantly to make it work. And if you don't do that, then this is how you end up divorced. And I know a lot of women are like, oh my God, he cheated. And that's all they could focus on. But, you don't know what led to that. You don't know what part she played, and you don't fully know what part he played in the relationship and why it fell apart. Because they were married for 11 years. You don't just be married for 11 years just for nothing. It's never a one-sided deal. Both parties play a part in how that relationship thrives or fails. And so if there's infidelity, what else was going on? You know what I'm saying? And that's not to excuse his behavior, because y'all already know, listen, I don't believe in cheating. I feel like if you want to cheat, you shouldn't be married. You shouldn't be married. That's just my thing. You should be single. That way you can be with whoever you want. And I don't have to sit there and deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa, because men aren't the only ones that cheat. Women cheat as well. So it's just unfortunate, that their business is all out there. And that's another thing about social media. When your life is intertwined with social media and the public, when something like this happens, everybody is going to know about it. And now you have to deal with that. Your kids, you have to, protect your children from this type of thing. And no one wins in this type of situation. This is not something to boast and brag about. And I don't think, it should be, one person should be dragged for it. I think that's something that both parties play. Both parties play a role in the demise or the thriving of a relationship. It's not just all on one person. So once again, I think it's unfortunate. And I will say again, I've seen lots of couples get divorced from being on social media. A lot of beauty content creators have divorced from that. It's either the women who are thriving in these spaces and becoming millionaires, they end up divorced. Now, I don't know if the men have an issue, because that's another thing that women will point out, that the men may have an issue with the success of these women. I don't know the dynamics, but I do see when these women in particular who become successful on social media or successful just in general, they always end up divorced. And so I don't know if they, why that is. Once again, women will say, oh, the men are becoming insecure because they're not comfortable with their women making all this money and basically leading the household. Because for some reason, when you see these women start to become successful and thrive like that and make all that money, they end up divorced. So I can't tell you for sure that it's the men that are insecure or it's the women with the problem. It may be a combination of the two. I don't know, because that's something that you have to talk about with the person that you're with. You have to discuss the dynamics of your relationship, because it does change. If you come from a situation where the man was a breadwinner, then you become the breadwinner, that may be an issue in that household. And if you don't talk about it or address it, this is how people end up divorced. And I see so many of these people, when these women become, specifically when the women become successful, they end up divorcing. So listen, once again, it's unfortunate that this family is broken apart, and I hate to see this happening. But once again, when you go into these types of situations, you have to have a conversation. You have to talk about, hey, how this is going to look. Look, once we, if we make it and we blow up and the money starts to come, because both of them are working. It's not like it was just her working. This was a joint effort. Her and her husband worked together. So it's a joint effort. But once again, how people say money changes you. So money could change you. It allows you to have more options when on both sides. So if the man has more options, sometimes he exercises those options. The women have more options. Sometimes they exercise those options. And sometimes it just does not work out. And this is why you have to have these conversations. When you're doing this stuff together, you got to talk about, hey, when we blow up and the money starts to come in, what are we going to do? Which way do you want to go? Which direction you want to go? Instead of just letting it happen, and then y'all are both confused about what to do, and one person is doing what they want and the other one doing what they want, and then it becomes an issue. You know what I mean? So listen, y'all, let me know what y'all think. What do y'all think about the situation? Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. DeeDeesReactions.